Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Whew. Never a doubt, Oregon is advancing on the men's basketball court. That game yesterday, what a game it was. The Ducks get the win. Was it pretty? Well, I think it's always pretty when you get that sticker and the advancement in March. It's March, it's tournament time, and Oregon moves on into the semifinal of the Pac-12 tournament. Yep, that's what we're talking about today on Duck Insider, along with so much more. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Here in the Country Financial Studio, I'm Ryan Milano, holding down what happened yesterday for Oregon on the men's basketball court. Also, Duck spring practices for football kicking off. We get to hear from Coach Lanning on today's show. Coach Drummond for Oregon Lacrosse was in the studio earlier today. We got to talk about their upcoming Pac-12 schedule. Oregon baseball, they got their Pac-12 home opener today at PK Park. Oregon softball in action today against Utah on the road in Salt Lake City. Oregon men's tennis in action today in conference play as they will play Stanford. So much going on from yesterday, from today, that we're breaking down on today's show. Also a packed weekend in Oregon athletics. No time to fret. We will get it all to you here on Duck Insider. We're starting with basketball. We're starting with the win for Oregon last night over UCLA in a game that was really, really close. Ducks end up winning it 68-66 as Oregon got out of the blocks a little bit slow. Got into halftime. We're down 5 at the break. We're down in the rebounding battle, something that Oregon did a really better job of in the second half against the Bruins. And the Ducks went on a really big run from really the start of the second half until about 5 to 6 minutes left to go in the ballgame. Oregon gapped UCLA. It was about a 15-point swing in that time, but then late, the Bruins went on the run. Oregon made the shot late when they needed to, and Folly Dante, the hook shot, got the great bounce to go, went off of the back of the rim and bounced back into the cylinder. UCLA didn't get the bounce on their floater at the buzzer. Oregon survives in Vegas and advances as the hopes are still alive. Still work to do for the Ducks. They're in action today. 5 o'clock is going to be the scheduled tip-off against Arizona. That means Joey will have air at 4:30 for you on the Oregon Sports Network. Both Joey and I will be on the air at the same time as basketball and baseball are going to start at pretty much the exact same time tonight. So little simulcast action. Listen to me, watch Joey. Listen to Joey, watch me. Have one headphone tuned into his broadcast, one into mine, and just try to synthesize the information. I don't know how you're going to do it. All I know is there's just so much Oregon athletics going on right now, and we got to break down the game that happened last night, and there's no one better to do it than the coach and Folly Dante and Jermaine Couisnard. This is the post-game interview brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Hearing from Dana Altman and two of the players in yesterday's win over UCLA that allows Oregon to advance to play today. Here is Coach Altman and the guys post-game.
Well, it was a good game. We were really fortunate. Mick does such a good job and messing things up, really getting after you. We were really tight the first half. Guys want to win, and they're a little nervous, and, we just didn't execute anything, kind of got sped up that first half. I thought the second half, we regained our composure, played a lot better until the last 4 minutes. We, just had a decent look at a couple shots, but then, the turnover right there, and Dante's turnover where everybody just collapsed on him so hard. We got to get the ball moving there. So we had a couple bad turnovers there that allowed them to get back in the game. But it's tournament time. We did things that you have to do. We were down 5 at half on the boards, and we ended up winning by 1. So we out-rebounded them 6 in the second half. We went 10 for 12 from the free throw line. And those are things you have to do in tournament situations. So again, it's not as smooth as what we wanted. We'd like to play a little better the first half, and definitely a little better the last 4 minutes. But again, we had 2 freshmen out there at times, and our defense has been a problem a lot of the year. Just talking, we made some defensive mistakes the first half, which I thought allowed them to get some really good looks. And then I thought the second half we did a much better job with our switches on the perimeter and getting over some flare picks they were trying to get for Andrews. But he's a really good player. And, we didn't know if he could score enough to beat us. We wanted to try to take Bona out. We wanted to try to take their bigs, no lobs, no lift threes, and just see if he could hit enough 2s, and he dang near did. But that was, our plan, and to not give up the lobs, to not give up the lift threes, and make them take 2s with hopefully a little contest. But Andrew's really a good player. I thought some of them were contested, and I thought he did a great job of hitting some tough shots.
You've talked all year about Dante's ability to draw fouls. How much do you feel like that impacted today's game?
Well, I was really disappointed the first 6 minutes. We didn't throw him the ball. Everybody taking 3. Oh, sorry about that. Everybody taking 3s. But he was the one who had taken them. So, we rushed. Everybody did. Jermaine rushed one. Jackson rushed one. Bam had to take one. But, KJ took 2. Before Dante ever touched the ball. And we just went brain dead there where we were supposed to throw the ball. And Dante's a good teammate. He didn't say nothing, and we got to throw him the ball. And so I was, that's bad coaching. We jacked up 6 threes before he even touches the ball. So again, he's 8 for 11. He drew 11 fouls? Am I close there? 10, 11 fouls. And they've been physical with him all year, and he just keeps fighting it. And they doubled him, tripled him that last possession there, and he probably didn't make a good read there, but he made some good reads on double teams. We got Jackson for a little layup. I can't remember who else. We had a couple good cuts there where we got a couple easy layups off of double teams. So, again, he's first team all conference for a reason. He is a phenomenal player. I've talked about him because I believe in him. He fights through adversity. He's our leader. These 2 guys, they want to win. They're both seniors. They want to win so bad. And I thought like I said, we were a little tight to come out. And I think that was just freshmen being freshmen, but these 2 guys wanting to win so bad, that we just came out a little on edge. So we're going to have to come out a lot better against Arizona tomorrow.
Going off from that, how do you think the momentum from Dante's efficient offensive performance will help the team going into the game against Arizona?
Well, they're good inside and they're big. With Ballo and Johnson, they're and Dante's going to have to play well, but he always has. You look at his game in, game out, he ain't had many duds. All right, so he'll be there to play. And, the rest of the guys got to step up. And I'm not talking about just offensively. I'm talking about on the boards. I'm talking about defensively. We just got to have some of our other guys step up, be a little better. KJ's got to finish that dunk. You got to get a couple more rebounds. Okay, Jackson, got to be strong with the ball and talk a little more defensively. I mean, Brennan's got to go get boards. So I mean, it's on all of us. Carrio, Bam. We're riding these two guys. This is team sport. Everybody's got to produce. You can't look at Dante and go get every rebound and throw the ball inside and everybody watch him and see if he scores. And we've done too much of that. And again, that's my fault because I just want to do it. I mean, those guys want to be more aggressive. I haven't demanded it. I'm too nice of a guy. So, isn't that right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jermaine, your shoulders seem to really be bothering you at some points today. I mean, I think the official even called a timeout on your behalf at one point. How's it feeling right now, and any concern with it going forward?
I'm good. I'm ready. Ready for tomorrow. From Indiana. So, got on him.
Jermaine, was there anything Dana said specifically about just getting the ball inside during the halftime in the locker room?
Yeah, man. Even on the court when I pulled up, it just knowing the game of basketball. Like, if you just go back on the game that we just had last two games, he's been great in the paint. And just, like you said, he's been playing well this whole season since he came back. So it's just on us to establish scoring the ball in the paint first. And then that'll open up for us outside.
And Dante, what are you seeing like during that stretch when you had a few baskets inside and you found Jackson? Just what are you seeing when they're doubling you, looking for guys cutting? What are you seeing during that stretch?
I mean, it's the team sport, so I just gotta find someone open to get. If it's two people go, someone gonna be open. So it was just that, and I just hit him. We be working this like all year long, so it's not something new for us. As long as we all cut or move for each other, we great look for us.
Dana, you've talked about getting Aquindo and Rigsby going. How do you feel like Aquindo impacted today's game?
He had some really good looks and knocked down, one or two threes. 2 for 6, and I was teasing him in there. His legs, he didn't get the ball above the rim on those last two. He was wide open. So, no, I thought he gave us a lift. I thought Brennan gave us a lift second half. I thought first half he, like the rest of our guys, were just, kind of out there. I just got off to a terrible start, just not executing anything, not talking defensively, just, and it's Bam's first tournament with us, Carrio's first tournament, Jackson with us, KJ with us, so not that I was expecting that we'd come out, and I told the guys, I said, now the first 10 minutes, we got to get our legs here, and UCLA's won a game, and they played pretty good. Now they shot it really good against Oregon State. First 10 minutes now, we just got to hold serve, and it happened that way, so again, we need those guys to play their hearts out. We need Brennan, Carrio, Bam, KJ. They got Mo. Mo gave us good minutes. Mo was energetic, but those guys got to give us good minutes.
And Folly, they're on that 9-0 run, and then you make that hook shot along the baseline. I mean, you were extended away from the rim a little bit. What was your confidence level as that shot left your hand, and just what did it mean to make a shot like that in that moment, given the clock, given that they were on such an extended run and threatening to take the lead?
I mean, we were so practice with that. Me and Jermaine and KJ and Mo and was Coop. We start practice with that. So as soon as I get out, I was like, I must just go for it. And glad to win in,
Got the good balance.
Yeah.
Coach, well, actually for the players too, like you mentioned you felt a little tight. The guys were a little tight early. If anything, did that have anything to do with just your guys' backs being maybe against the wall as far as needing to win this thing to get in the NCAA?
Yeah, we know that, and that's part of it. These two guys, they're winners. They want to compete. They want to go to the tournament. And so, and we know what's in front of us. We know Arizona's a good basketball team. I can't sugarcoat that. They beat us twice. We're going to have to play our tails off. So, there's pressure on them, and they know it. But again, we know the position we're in. We know the position we put ourselves in. We got to swing away and try to make something happen tomorrow against a really good team, a team that might be a 1 seed, a 2 seed in the tournament, and I think they're ranked in the top 5, top 10, whatever they are. We know we're going to have to play. And so, but to answer your question, Yeah, we were tight. You know, when you know you got to win, and you got to win 3 games. I kept telling them, don't worry about the second one. There's no second game if you don't get the first one. You know, and we've had success in the tournament thinking that way at times. You know, and so just really proud of the guys for finding a way the second half. I thought we really regained our composure, and even though the shots didn't fall in the second half, we had some really good looks at threes. We ran a 2 fade for him, and I thought that was going to go. And like I said, Cario had some really good looks. On a night you don't shoot it well again, 4 for 20. We hit our free throws. We out-rebounded them second half. You find a way, and just hope like hell tomorrow we shoot a lot better. You know, we're gonna have to hit some shots.
Ben Parker, CardinalSportsReport.com. Just for Coach, kind of what was your message to the team at halftime? You guys are down like 5. Just what was kind of the main thing you told them at halftime to kind of flip this thing around?
No, I was really calm. Just said, fellas, we didn't play well, and we're down 5. Okay, we didn't shoot it well. We didn't play well. We didn't shoot free throws well. We didn't talk on defense, and we're down 5. We got lots of time here, but we're going to have to execute some things. We're going to have to get some stops. You know, we're going to have to play better. We can't be down 5 on the boards. We can't, second chance points at halftime, we're down 5, it's 7-2. The difference in the game was those 3 offensive rebounds they got for 7 points. 2 2-pointers and then a 3-pointer on the second shot. So it was 7-2 second chance points. That's the 5 points we were down. We were down 5 rebounds at half. So, so we got to get the rebounding under control. We got to execute some things. We got to go to Dante. Okay, those are the things we got to do. And if we do those things and get the rebounding straightened out, go to Dante, we're going to win the game. But if we don't do those things, they're going to stay after you. They're a very competitive team. They're a very well-coached team. We're going to have trouble, but we're going to have to get control of the boards. We're going to have to get control defensively and quit making so many mistakes. And we're going to have to offensively go to Dante. And we did a little better job in each area. Not great, but a little bit better in each area. And found a way to win. So, like I said, if it wouldn't have been for those 2 turnovers in the last 4 minutes, I think we'd have been in pretty good shape.
Coach, just about the pace of the game, it was pretty up and down the 2 times you played Arizona. USC's tried to slow it down a little bit and had good results, bad results, depending on the game. How do you look at that? Do you think it's a team that you want to try to run with or try to get into a lower possession game?
Well, their half-court defense is really good. I don't like comment on other teams, but if you take Arizona's defense this year compared to last year, I think it's a lot better. I don't know what Ken Palm says, but their activity, I think is pretty good. So if you don't push it at all and let them set their defense every time, I think they're pretty good in the half-court. So I think they can play a lot of different ways. And so it's just a matter of, how the flow goes. We gave up a lot of points at both places. I think 83 at our place, and more than that at their place, So we're going to have to do a better job defensively. And I'm not sure, like I say, we can't walk it down and just let them set their defense every time. We're going to have to get some transition. But they're a little deeper than us. And we got to be careful about just getting into, a shooting contest with them. So we're going to have to bring our A game. There are a lot of times you go, okay, we don't have to play our best. We're going to have to play good. We're going to have to shoot it good. We're going to have to rebound good. We're going to have to be sharp defensively. We're going to have to play really good. And they've proven that 2 times. So 1 at our place, 1 at their place. So I can't sugarcoat it. We're going to have to play really good. And the guys know that. The guys know that. They know they're going to have to bring it. And so it's a challenge, but it's what we got ourselves into. And so we just got to be ready for it. So, but I know these 2 guys will bring it. I got no doubts about them. And we got to have all the other guys ready to go. But I got no doubts these 2 will bring it.
The stage is set for Oregon men's basketball tonight against Arizona. That game starting at 5 o'clock. That's the slated tip-off time as it is right now for Oregon versus Arizona in the semifinal of the Pac-12 tournament. Ducks, They haven't gotten on top of Arizona yet this year, but it is also really hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season, and so Oregon with a little bit of precedent on their side as the Ducks trying to go up and complete what a lot of people would consider an upset to take down the Wildcats later tonight. Joey will have hair at 4:30 for the pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network, and tip-off will be at 5 o'clock. At about the same time, tip-off for basketball is first pitch for baseball. So the Ducks will play against Cal at PK Park later. It's also football season. It's back after the pro day last week, or rather earlier this week. Oregon spring practices, they kicked off yesterday for the Ducks, and Coach Lanning was talking with the media after spring practice. So we'll get to Coach Lanning after a break. We'll tee that up. Coming up next on Duck Insider, the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano holding it down here on Duck Insider, and we just were talking about men's basketball and their big win yesterday to advance in March. All you got to do is just find a way to win. That's all that matters in March, and it doesn't just happen in March, or on the football field at least. It doesn't just happen in, August through the end of the year as football season ramps up, really September through December for football season. Well, January now, the season goes so long. It starts now. It starts developing through the start of spring practices all the way through the summer into the fall. And Oregon is back and they're developing now. Spring practices back on the practice field here on the HGC complexes, and after Coach Lanning was coaching the team in practice, he talked with the media to break it down. Here is the first 2024 spring season interview with head coach Dan Lanning.
Good day one. There's always great energy the first day of practice, right? But there's a lot to clean up. So we want to go attack technique. It's good to see some young guys out there picking it up. These walkthroughs that we've been able to have leading up to spring ball really gives us that opportunity to take a step forward and get ahead. We'll have meetings following practice and able to attack some of that as well with our players too. But with that said, we can open it up for questions.
You guys practicing with the in-helmet communication yet?
Yeah, we were sent a couple by the office. We're using them and moving around player to player on certain days.
On defense, anyone besides Jeff who's going to be one of those green dots?
Everybody, we're going to train everybody to be able to use those, primarily in the linebacker room.
What's the benefit of doing these 2 practices and then having a couple weeks off and coming back?
I don't know that there's a lot of huge benefit because there's going to be a little bit of a period there that puts us behind, but there's going to be some guys that are able to join us here post that first term that will give us a chance to get those guys involved. That certainly it lengthens that spring window, so you get a little bit more time in between to study what you've done well and what you can improve on.
How did you feel the day went with 3 dozen or so newcomers out there?
Yeah, I thought there was good and there was bad, right? The biggest thing, you saw energy and you saw guys moving from drill to drill with a purpose. There was mistakes made, which there's going to be. It's about fixing those.
So Ope moved to the student assistant role that Suava was doing, or?
He's moved to a student assistant role.
How do you measure success from day 1 going into day 2? What are you looking most on Saturday to see from this team as far as growth goes?
Well, I think effort and technique, right? Really, and then are you making the same mistakes you made day 1, right? We got to eliminate those as we go forward. But it's just about constant improvement, constant growth. Can't eat an elephant in one bite, right? It takes one day at a time, a little bit better each day.
Good to see Noah out there. Is he basically back to being Noah Whittington?
We've got some, we're being conscientious of where he's at. They're doing a really good job in the treatment program. He's way ahead of schedule, has done a really good job there, but we'll be conscientious through that with spring.
You expecting Jaleel to do anything this spring? Or?
Really same thing, right? Like we're going to be able to have these guys do what they can do, but be smart in the same process.
First, we're talking to you after the promotions and movements on the staff. Just what went into the various decisions, promoting everybody from within, moving Hampton to handle the whole DB's room, Brian up to inside backers. Just what was the thoughts of how you filled your staff?
Yeah, we got a lot of really good coaches within this staff, and it's about growing guys within the staff and giving them opportunities when they've proven they deserve it, right? And whether it's Ham taking a bigger role there in the secondary, or Rashad Wadoud stepping up to do more with the corners. Brian's been a guy that proved his value here last season. It was a guy that we want to get involved more as well. So, in our organization, it's about continuity. It's about growing within. Building guys that can fill those roles and do a good job.
You still have a couple of spots, either in strength and conditioning or recruiting, you're looking to fill, or you're done at this point?
We're always looking for how we can improve our program and what ways we can add elements to our program to make us better. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have positions we're still filling.
What about Brian in particular? Do you think made him a good fit for the inside linebacker spot?
Yeah, I've just known Brian for a really long time. I worked with him in Memphis. I worked with him at Arizona State. Worked with him at Georgia. So he's a guy that I have a lot of familiarity with. And his knowledge of the game, his understanding of how we want to be able to accomplish things here, at the University of Oregon was a big help last year in his role that he did last year. So looking for him to take a step forward in what he does this year.
Jay Harris brings kind of a new element to that backfield just because of his size. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, it's hard right now, and we're wearing spiders and helmets, so I think that's going to show up more when we get into those thud tempos. But obviously, he is a big back, and that's going to be an element that we want to take advantage of when we get out there with pads.
How did you find a D2 running back? What was the process of identifying him and then recruiting him?
Well, just keeping your ears and eyes open, right? He's from a state that I'm familiar with, Missouri, and had some connections back in St. Louis of guys that we knew, and then really able to put the pieces together and let him know that we felt like he fit a need for us and we could help him.
You knew the interior defensive line would go from being the most experienced and oldest group in the country to a youth movement. What are you hoping to see from a lot of young guys here this spring at those positions?
Yeah, see them grow up fast, right? I always say if you're good enough, you're old enough. We want to see these guys be able to attack it, and not have a plan to wait, but have a plan to go play.
But in the secondary where you add several guys, probably a few more on the way, what are you hoping to see from a group that's just reloading a lot of new faces, a lot of new personnel?
Yeah, you don't want to take a step backwards. You want to take a step forward. So, we're not looking to plateau or dip. We're looking to continue to elevate, and that starts with great technique and communication. Those guys understanding what we're trying to accomplish. And we got a lot of guys out here. This is really the first spring that I felt like we could truly two-spot practice and have enough bodies that we can work multiple fields, multiple drills at the same time and take advantage of it.
Evan, Jabbar, and Brandon are committed as transfer players, but not here. Are you expecting them to be here in April?
When I'm able to talk about players that are here, I'll be able to talk about all those guys that are here. And certainly there's going to be some guys that will be joining us that we can visit about when they get here.
How about some of the signees like Dylan, Iffy, are those guys expected after
same
break?
thing. We'll get them here as soon as we get them here, and you guys will see them when they're here. But we're getting those guys transition ready to roll.
I don't think we've had a chance to ask you about Shamari Caldwell yet. What did you guys see from him on tape, and then what makes him a good fit for this system?
Yeah, I mean, explosive power and speed, really, for his size. You know, he's a dominant guy that ends up in the backfield a lot of times, which is going to create havoc for the opposing team. So excited to see what he brings. He's done a good job hopping in. He's learned a lot. We're asking him to do more than he did before, and that's been a good transition for him.
With the champion conference and everything, how has that sort of changed your spring training plan, if at all? Or is there any different emphasis this year going into the first year in the Big Ten?
No, it really doesn't change our approach. You know, right now it's about Oregon getting better, right? And the things that we think are winning football are the things that we're going to work on. That doesn't really matter what conference we're in.
We haven't talked about Dylan or Dante yet. How have you kind of seen them just take over this new role and kind of fill some pretty big shoes on Bo's way out?
Yeah, they've jumped in the water, right? All in. They didn't dip their toe in. So these guys are picking it up quick. Again, these walkthroughs and meetings have been something that have given them an advantage to be able to pick it up. A lot of growth from today that we got to see moving forward, but excited about the way those guys work.
Several policy things have changed since last we spoke. So early signing day moving up to early December. Is that, you like that date? Would you have liked it even earlier? Stay at the same?
You know, I just adapt to whatever the rules become. You know, I think there's benefits to rule changes, and I think that there's also consequences that come with rule changes. You know, there's a great chance that the team's preparing for a conference championship and they're signing players at the same time. You know, we'll see how it all plays out, but we'll certainly adapt to it well.
So they're discussing changing the playoff that hasn't even begun yet. Your thoughts on 14 teams and how many auto bids?
Yeah, I'm worried about what's next for.
That is Coach Lanning breaking down spring practice and Oregon back on the practice field. It's always great when football's back on the practice field. It's still crossover season as the winter sports are into their postseasons and spring sports are kicking up. It feels like everything's going on at the same time, including Oregon lacrosse. We sat down with Coach Jess Drummond ahead of her Pac-12 opener earlier this morning. We'll get to that next after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network. Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano, holding it down. We're already talking about Oregon men's basketball and their big win over UCLA yesterday to advance to play today in the semifinals. That game is going to be at 5 o'clock, same time as Oregon baseball, both in action at the same time tonight. So, pretty packed day for Oregon athletics. Oregon softball also going to be in action later. We'll hear from Coach Lombardi later in the show. But It's Pac-12 play for not only baseball and softball today, but also for lacrosse on Saturday, going up against Cal as Jess Drummond just went through her first non-conference slate, finished 6-1. I got to sit down with Coach Drummond this morning. Here is our conversation. Coach Drummond is here. Jess, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you. Round of applause. I'm back. It's been a while.
We missed you here in the studio, so we're glad we get you back.
Same.
So just closed up non-conference. Just overall thoughts. How do you feel like your first non-conference as a head coach went?
Yeah, I thought it went great. It was really exciting to face different opponents who brought different looks for us. You know, we faced some zones on defense, some woman-to-woman, so I felt like it really prepped us going into conference play because I know that there's a couple in our conference that do play zones and woman-to-woman, so I felt we just got a lot of looks. We were challenged, you know, by playing Rutgers as a Big Ten school, so that was great to just be pushed in different areas of our game to grow and kind of hopefully, you know, keep going through Pac-12.
Over last weekend, got the win over Furman. Some individual performances that really shined, in particular Morgan McCarthy. 6 goals in that match.
Yes.
What did you see from her over the weekend?
She's just gritty. She just is in the right spots. She knows how to finish her shots. She's just a great spark for this team. I was just really proud of her consistency through, you know, kind of these non-conference games.
We've talked a lot about the offense, and it is an incredibly potent offense that you've showcased throughout the non-conference. But the defense, too, the defensive statistics have been really impactful. It's 6 games this season you've held your opponents under double digits in the goal column. That happened 6 times in the last 3 years at this program. So the defense is operating at an incredibly efficient clip. What do you sort of attribute to that?
We definitely CC and just our aggressive mentality. I am such a big believer on being able to get those checks, be aggressive, using our sticks to our advantage. You know, I think that's been a lot of awesome opportunities that we are on defense to create those cost turnovers for our defenders. You know, we've had a couple outstanding players shine, and you know, I think it was Jenkins had 5 cost turnovers as a first freshman, like against Merrimack, and I was like, that is what we want. We want that spark, that confidence when you're out there. We always talk about alpha as one of our team winning values, and on defense, you've just got to have that alpha confidence to be able to go out there and get that ball back for our team.
The goal of winning is simple. You know, you score more points than your opponent. You don't allow as many goals as your opponent. It seems pretty simple, but you're scoring goals at a higher offensive clip than we've seen in this program for a long time, and limiting goals at a lower defensive clip than we've seen in this program for a long time. What do you attribute in terms of the game style to be able to score efficiently and also limit your opponents to score inefficiently?
Yeah, you know, I think, again, like we talked about our team winning values, like being an alpha on both sides of the field and just having that confidence when you're out there. As soon as you step on that field, like I want our players to feel like they know the game plan, they go in with confidence, they know that whatever they're going to do is going to end up with the win at the end of the game, and just being disciplined, you know, on both sides, sticking to the game plan, running our offensive sets, you know, on defense, having those cause turnovers by having the doubles and being the slides being there. So we just, you know, really go through all. I feel like every time we step on the game, we're like reminding ourselves of those team winning values of what it takes to win.
Entering into conference play, going up against Cal on Saturday at noon. Take me back to when you were a player. What are your memories of conference play as a player? Did you get up a little bit more for those conference
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, like it's you can almost get a little reset in season. It's like, okay, pause. We just either did really great or not so great. I think our year that we won in 2012, we had like a really bad non-conference play, but it's like you still have an opportunity to turn around and end really strong. And so I think that's such a great reminder for our team of like, it doesn't matter who we're facing in conference. Like every game is so important. And now this year being, you know, last year they're so used to playing everyone twice. You only get to see them once, and you give it your all in that one game, and that's it.
Some coaches have different philosophies when it sort of bridges from non-conference to conference. Some people say, oh, it's the same season, nothing changes. Some people say it's a completely different year, throughout the non-conference out of the window. Where do you sort of stand on that sort of bridge? Do you feel like it's a continuation of non-conference? Do you want to learn from non-conference, or does nothing change or everything change?
Yeah, I think you can't have Pac-12 without your non-conference. I think that there's definitely this like whole little reset mentality, but everything that we did in non-conference should carry over into conference of, you know, all that we prepped for, all those scores we scored against other teams, all those teams we held them to less goals than us. I think that's a huge factor. And, you know, our draw team had been outstanding, and I want to continue to push them to, like, once we come Pac-12, how important it is to get that ball off the draw, keep it on our offensive end. But, I think I'm kind of right in the middle. I'm not like, don't think about out of conference, but don't not think about it. So I'm like, yeah, like right in the middle. Think about it a little bit and know that it's prepped us to get us where we are in Pac-12 play.
Jess Drummond, Oregon lacrosse coach, is here going up against Cal on Saturday. Some of the scouting report for California. What do they bring?
Yeah, they're kind of similar to how we play. There's not a ton of set offensive motion, so I think we'll be facing someone who's very similar to us, which can be really fun. And I think whoever comes out harder and wants it more can end up with that win at the end of the day.
So, interviewing now on a Friday morning, playing on Saturday. Right after this, you're actually experimenting with a new sport, I heard. So you're going out to the links. I want to hear a little bit about your golf game and what you're sort of expecting from your tee time.
I know. I walked into practice today, and then my player's like, wait, you look like a golfer. And I was like, okay, good. I'm going out to the course. That's a great first step. If I look the part, I can play the part. No, I'm absolute garbage at golf. And I'm there to try to have fun, and I can't take myself too seriously. As competitive as I am, I'm not one of those golfers that's like, I need to be good every hit, every swing. But I'm going to try to get better because there's some tournaments I hear for the department in the summer that I want to at least put a good show on.
Okay, so we're saving Coach Radley. We're not calling him yet for open spots. But
oh my gosh, don't
put
me with anyone good. No. This is it. I'm a great time. I'm fun on the golf course. So if you want a good laugh, definitely put me on your team. But if you want to win, I would not pick me.
Okay, going into this Pac-12 slate as we close things up, just overall goals for conference as we move forward throughout the season.
Yeah, I would love us to. I know we haven't had a ton of wins in the past couple of years, and I don't even want us to focus on that. I want us to focus on new year, new team, and just a lot more to prove. I think we have everything to win, and so I don't want us to get bogged down on who our opponent is and treat every game like we have an opportunity to prove something.
6-1 through her first non-conference. Jess Drummond makes the transition to Pac-12 play. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's Coach Jess Drummond doing a tremendous job. Style on point. Her whole team knew where she was going after this, and I know exactly where she'll be on Saturday at noon. She'll be on the sideline as Oregon is going to go up against Cal for the first Pac-12 game in the Jess Drummond era 2.0. She played as a player through conference play, but as a coach, good to see her team for the first time in conference play coming up on Saturday at noon against Cal. Coming up in just a few hours, Oregon softball will be in action on the road against Utah in Salt Lake City. Our friends at KWVA have the call, and, Coach Lombardi spoke with the media before the road trip. We're getting to that next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We talked men's basketball, football, lacrosse, and, well, how about some diamond sports? Both Oregon softball and baseball in action today as the Ducks on the baseball diamond are preparing to play Cal at PK Park. That's starting at 5 o'clock today. The whole series for Oregon, it's today, Saturday, Sunday. Ducks will be at PK Park. Should be a great weekend. Beautiful weather we're expecting. And against Utah, it will be at 3 o'clock. So not very far from right now. It's an hour and 15 minutes away from first pitch for the Ducks on the diamond on the road against Utah in Salt Lake City. Coach Lombardi previewed the weekend, broke down the series win over Cal last weekend. Here is Coach Lombardi speaking to the media.
How did you party? You said you wanted everyone to celebrate and party the series. What did I say party? How did you celebrate the series win?
Oh, well, in the locker room we celebrated together. And then I think just have an opportunity to get done early with the weekend and go celebrate with my family as well. But for us, we celebrated, and I think it's important. We talk a lot about celebrating the little things, celebrating the big things. And so we definitely got after it in the locker room, so it was a lot of fun.
What does that celebration in the locker room look like?
Gosh, a lot of laughing, I got to see a lot of dance moves, and I got to see a little water fly around, so it was good.
Do you partake in the dancing?
You know what? Whatever they want me to do, I'm all theirs. So.
Morgan talked a little bit last week about how she was able to look at some of the tape and then adjust some of her stuff. How much of your guys' work before a series is looking at your own tape, and how much is it looking at the other team's tape?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, and it just depends on what it is that you need. So with Morgan, we got to look a little bit more on her, and then, touch on the opponent. And sometimes it could be the opposite, where it's more opponent and less them. It's just depending on what it is everybody's needing, what we're trying to get out of it. So.
Where do you feel like you guys are at in that process this week going up against Utah?
Good, preparing for the opponent. Both. We prepare for the opponent, and then we also get to look at our swings, get to look at our pitches, get to look at our defense, and see, if there's any adjustments that we need to make as well.
Speaking of adjustments, how much of an adjustment do you make? Because it's at elevation, so the ball is going to act a lot differently there than it does at a lot of other places. Do you guys take that into account when you're making pitch calls or swinging?
Yes, we do. Yes and no. It's just like your pitchers, your staff is your staff. So it's just understanding, maybe they're just different strategy, a little bit different being there versus being here. Their field's pretty deep as well. So I think every weekend you go into it with certain strategy for the opponent.
Elise talked a bit about how you guys have used tunneling to help our pitches be better. Is that something that you've worked on with the whole staff?
Mm-hmm. Yep, just to see if their pitches, do they hide, what pitches hide around other pitches, what pitches might pop, and then to be able to make those adjustments.
Have there been any players this season that have exceeded your expectations up until this point of the season?
Gosh, that's a good question. I've really enjoyed all of them. One thing I would say is Alyssa Daniel, just being at first, I think she's been unbelievable over there defensively. That's probably somebody who I would say. Not that I don't think she can't play, good defense at first, but I just think she's done really well. I think she's handled all types of balls over there.
What are you looking for going into this weekend? Expectations? They're a fast, aggressive team. Mm-hmm. They presented some opportunities that you guys missed on last year at the close of the season. So how do you fill those holes going into this series?
I think just the same type of fight and competitors that we got to see this past weekend, taking it to Utah. Understanding that they have got a lot of speed and they've got some hitters that can drive them in. They've got, that Mariah Lopez is a great pitcher for them. Their other pitchers pitch well, but just she was their main one from last year. So just understanding what makes them good and what we need to do to give ourselves opportunity to beat them.
Does Lopez compare to any pitcher that you guys have faced so far?
Gosh, I mean, we have faced a lot of lefties this year. I just sit and try to go through them all, but I mean, no, she's pretty unique, but we have faced a lot of lefties, so I think it gives us a great opportunity going into the series.
Do you feel more comfortable going up against lefties this season because of how much you faced off against lefties in the early non-conference?
Yeah, I mean, we faced a lot of lefties this year, where last year we had mainly faced right-handed pitchers, so to see the amount of, I feel like just pitching in general, we have seen it all this year. And I know there's so much more, but just we've seen it all. Like if we had to go to postseason right now, just in how we've seen all types of pitching, I would say we're ready. Let's go. We've seen it. So I think that's good going into this weekend.
Anything else?
There was a question on replays. If you could explain challenges rather than replays, how the challenge process works, the number of them, and if you missed, if you could.
Yeah, I think we get 2. That's all we get. We get 2 regardless if we're right or wrong. Where I think in football and other sports, like if you win the challenge, you get it back. You don't get any challenge back. You just get 2 each game. If you use them, great. If you don't, great. If you win both, it doesn't make a difference. Once you've used both, you're done.
Do umpires get an opportunity to?
Yeah. 6th and 7th inning, the umpires under their discretion can say we would like to go to the replay booth in the 6th and 7th inning.
Do you have a strategy in how you use your replay reviews?
I don't. I think you just, you're just kind of in the heat of the moment, and you just got to collect the information that you have and then and make a decision.
Is there, I guess, for edification purposes, when you talk to the umpires, are you soliciting feedback from them about how likely the challenge is? Because it's unique in this sport because they're the ones doing their own challenge.
Yeah.
So do they provide that feedback? Or is it just, I guess, when you're talking to the umps, people are kind of curious, like what you guys are talking about?
Oh, you just basically, I would like to go to replay. It's just you to explain what you want to go to replay on, and then they go. And then that situation, they have to look at every little thing regarding that situation. And then they come back and they tell you the result, and you say yes or no. Like you don't get to follow up with any conversation. They give you the information, and then you have to move on.
That's Coach Lombardi, her conversation with the media before the Ducks will get in action on the softball diamond in a little more than an hour from now on the road against Utah in Salt Lake City. Oregon baseball, Oregon basketball, those are all in action today. And there's also been some pro Ducks that have made some noise, both on the links and on the football field this offseason. So we'll talk about that next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. It's been a pretty packed week in Oregon athletics. It'll be a pretty packed weekend for the Ducks as we move forward. There are going to be 8 events going on tomorrow for Oregon. So the 4 events today, men's tennis going up against Stanford. That's going to get in action pretty close to now. Then softball going up against Utah. You got baseball and basketball both at 5 o'clock against Cal and Arizona respectively. And then there's so much that's going on Saturday. Track is in action. Lacrosse is in action. Men's and women's tennis both in action. There's acrobatics and tumbling going up against Quinnipiac. There's also potential, if Oregon wins today against Arizona on the basketball front, to still be in action tomorrow in the Pac-12 title. Oregon softball and baseball also in action as their series continue on Saturday. So a really packed day tomorrow for Oregon athletics. Still a pretty packed day today. In Pro Ducks news, Wyndham Clark, currently right now at the Players' Championship, putting together a pretty strong showing going into the weekend. The first 2 rounds for Wyndham Clark, 14 under par. Currently, as it stands, has a 5-stroke lead on the field. So Wyndham Clark putting himself in good position going into Saturday and Sunday. Also on the NFL front, some Pro Ducks moving venues. Eric Armstead moves from the 49ers to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Troy Dye meeting up with some old friends, goes from the Vikings to the Chargers. He'll hang out with Justin Herbert in that locker room. Yeah, just like old times here in Eugene. Gonna be a weekend. Go Ducks.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with